let's get into Canada versus Mexico. And first and foremost, we want to give a shout out and an apology. We want to issue an apology to John Herdman. We've been calling him John Herdsman, I think, for the whole World Cup qualifying. I just added an S.
When I saw that in the run of show in all red, I was like, oh yeah, guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged. Yeah. So we want to raise our hands and accept responsibility. We've been adding an S because we just think he's been managing so well. We thought there were two of him, right? We pluralized John Herdsman. Yeah. It's actually John Herdman. Okay, so fair play to him. Arguably the best manager so far in this.
That's not true, Jimmy. That's not who you said was your best 11 manager, so you don't get to have him.
Thomas Christensen. I'm a big fan of Panama, and that's proven to be true as well. I mean, it's just doing it in dramatic fashion. I like Thomas Christensen, but John Herdman has been. I mean,
I went with I think I went with Herdman and called him John Herdsman when I put him on my Concacaf 11. I apologize to that because a manager of that level that's been doing this this quality of a job for his national team deserves to have his name pronounced correctly by us who talk about this literally every single day. So we apologize for that. Jimmy put the S in there and we just
to
play him.
I guess just he's been like, he's everywhere.
The S is for super. Yeah.
Super. Herd Superman is what we wanted to say. All right, so let's talk about Canada, Mexico. Canada coming off a 1-0 result in their game, and obviously Mexico lost to us 2-0. It's going to be in Edmonton again. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be cold. Who do you think has the advantage in this one? And how badly does Mexico need something out of this? Especially because Canada went down to Estadio Azteca and got a 1-1 result earlier in the qualifying campaign.
I think, oh man, this is such an incredible matchup and one that I'm really excited about because regardless, someone's dropping points here. And when you're Canada and you're watching the U.S. play Mexico, Jimmy, we talked about U.S. versus Mexico. Neither of that game's not going to cost either of those teams World Cup qualifying, right? And now, but when you're Canada, you're like, oh yeah, for them it doesn't, but for us it means something. And so when you're the U.S. looking at Canada playing Mexico, you think the same thing. This means something for our qualifying because points get dropped in this one for one of the teams. But from a matchup standpoint, I think it's. I'm trying to think who has the advantage here. You got Canada who are home, who are very good. You've got probably what I think is the most informed attack in CONCACAF right now in terms of the quality of players. We saw Alphonso Davies playing up top with Jonathan David, putting Kyle Larin onto the bench. By the way, they have Ugbo, who just made his debut in this game. They're so deep in the attack that I think they're always a threat, especially at home. They're going to be more comfortable with that crowd and that climate. I certainly like their chances. But then I'm like, yeah, but Mexico are up against the ropes. They just got beat by the U.S. in another Dos a Cero in a qualifier. That's humiliating. And I've never seen Mexico not rebound from adversity, right? These guys are pressure tested always. They're always under immense amount of expectations and pressure. So I see them bouncing back. This is going to be a close one, but I want to think that Canada has the advantage here. It's hard to think that Mexico, again, just like against the U.S., aren't going to create their chances. They're going to get a couple of their chances. So I'm kind of sitting on the fence in a weird way. This is a game that I can't wait to watch and see what lineups get rolled out. But if I go player for player, I still think Mexico have more depth and experience than I think Canada do. But Canada have tapped into something different, and then their attack is phenomenal.
Yeah, I just want to say that all of these games are on Paramount Plus. Every single World Cup qualifier is on Paramount Plus for this match day 8. So it's very exciting. What I also like is that the U.S. play very early. I think it kicks off at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern. And then you have Canada-Mexico kicking off at 6 p.m. So you can actually get to stagger and watch some of these games, and that pumps me up. Right. Now, with regard to this, when I think back at the time they played in Mexico, Alphonso Davies was playing very high, and he didn't start there. They played it looks like a 4-2-3-1, and Alphonso Davies was out on the wing. But as the game progressed, they put him higher and higher up the field to really put a ton of pressure on that Mexican back line, because that Mexican back line, not very fast. And when you have somebody that can stretch the lines, can get in behind with a well-timed run, they had to be honest. And that meant that stretched that midfield a little bit. And what we saw against the U.S. in particular, Mexico doesn't necessarily have the horses to cover the ground in the same way, especially if you're going to put Edson Alvarez in a single pivot in front of that back four. He can't cover all that ground. And the other guys just aren't workhorses enough or just don't have the legs anymore. I'm looking at Hector Herrera. He'll do it for a while. But if you can get him stretched out and you get him out defending on the sidelines, it creates so much space in the middle of the field. And I think Canada's now good enough to exploit that. So I could see Alphonso Davies staying up high in this one again and forcing that back line, pinning them back a little bit, and actually sitting between the right back and the right center back, because then that doesn't allow Mexico to create those numerical advantages that they like to create when they try to move up the field. I like Canada in this, and I think Canada's a tough matchup for Mexico in a lot of different ways. Mexico, I think, is going to come out and be conservative. I think their tail's between their legs a little bit. I don't think they can have that same bravado. Their front three, their heralded front three, got pocketed by a couple MLS center backs, and let me tell you, that makes me super pumped up. Way to go, boys. Zimmerman and Miles, I'm looking at you. But Yedlin and Anthony Robinson, obviously, very good as well. So I like Canada in this one. I could see Mexico playing for a tie and trying to be very thoughtful in how they're going to attack and win so they don't get stretched out, because I think on the counter is where Canada can really hurt you. This is a great game in terms of two managers, one who has a ton more experience, I think, than John Herdman, but is now in crisis mode. And then you have John Herdman, who's like, I could do no wrong, baby. Like, I could be president of Canada at this point. That's how well everything's going. I like Canada to probably squeak it out. This is going to be an interesting game. I like Canada. I'm going to
losses in a row. I mean, you're talking about some jobs on the line, maybe.
We're talking Mexico dropping to third after this qualifying window after not losing any games. So it's going to be a one to watch. Again, it's on Paramount Plus.